Hare Krishna. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachaudi Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachaudi Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jai Om Vishnupad Parahams Parivracharya Shtoto Shishmadas Divine Graces Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki ISKCON Founder Acharya BBT Founder Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Om Vishnupad Parahams Parivracharya Shtoto Shishmadas Divine Graces Bhakti Siddhanta Savasthakur Srila Prabhupada Ki Ananta Koti Vaishnav Vranda Ki Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Prem Sakho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vranda Ki Shri Radha Krishna Gopinath Shyam Kun Radha Kun Giri Govardhan Ki Vrindavan Dham Ki Mayapur Navdeep Dham Ki Jagannath Puri Dham Ki Gangamai Ki Yamunamai Ki Bhakti Devi Ki Tulsi Maharani Ki Samaveda Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Ki All glories to assembled devotees Hare Krishna. All glories to assembled devotees Hare Krishna. All glories to assembled devotees Hare Krishna. All glories to Shri Guru and Gauranga. Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiraye. Hare Krishna. So I've been told to speak on the Govardhan LILA. So this morning we're discussing from Canto 10, Chapter 27, entitled Indra and Surbi Offer Prayers, text number 15. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Maya te kari maghavan Makha bhango anugranata Mad anusmritye nityam Mattasyendra shriya bhrusham. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Maya te kari maghavan Makha bhango nugranata Mad anusmrataye nityam Mattasyendra shriya bhrusham. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Maya te kari maghavan Makha bhango nugranata Mad anusmritye nityam Mattasyendra shriya bhrisham. Word to word meaning. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, Maya, by me, te, unto you, akari, has been done. Maghavan, my dear Indra. Makha, of your sacrifice. Bhanga, the stopping. Anugranata, acting to show mercy to you. Mat anusmritaye, for the sake of remembrance of me. Nityam, constant. Mattasya, of one intoxicated. Indrashriya, with the opulence of Indra. Bhrusham, greatly. Translation. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, "My dear Indra, it is out of mercy that I stopped the sacrifice meant for you. You were greatly intoxicated by your opulence as King of Heaven, and I wanted you to always remember me." Purport. According to Sridhar Swami, Indra and Lord Krishna here exchanged a heart-to-heart talk. Indra revealed his mind to the Lord, and now Lord Krishna similarly reveals his own intention. In text 11 of this chapter, Indra emphatically declares that Lord Krishna is in fact everything, and thus, according to Indra's own criteria, forgetting Lord Krishna is clearly a state of insanity. When the Supreme Lord reminds us of his supreme existence, he is not proudly advertising himself like a mundane politician or entertainer. The Lord is self-satisfied in his own infinite existence and is trying lovingly to bring us back to our own perfect existence as his eternal associates. From God's point of view, even the mighty King of Heaven, Indra, is a mere child, and a naughty child at that. And thus the Lord, being a caring father, punished his child and brought him back to the sanity of Krishna consciousness. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpa Tarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shrivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Krishna. Welcome all of you to today morning's Srimad Bhagavatam class. I would like to personally thank the managers and all the devotees of Shri Shri Radha Vrindavan Chandra Temple for kindly allowing me to render some service here. And they have told me to speak on this pastime of Govardhan LILA. So I try to repeat a few words of Srila Prabhupada and the Acharyas by the blessings of all the assembled Vaishnavas. In the Krishna book, Srila Prabhupada writes, one of his most amazing, memorable, golden statements, which we can meditate upon, contemplate on, and try to practice for the rest of eternity. He writes, "The greatness of a person has to be estimated by his ability to tolerate provoking situations." That's the Supreme Lord's and Srila Prabhupada's definition of true greatness. We could have so many conceptions of what is meant by greatness. As most people think, the famous Bollywood stars, cricket stars, and so many other stars, they are the greatest. And we could also think that those who distribute the maximum number of Srila Prabhupada's books, those who are expert pujaris, expert managers, expert cooks, they are the greatest. Yet, here Srila Prabhupada gives a precise definition of what is meant by greatness. When there is a provoking situation, when there is a test, how do we respond? That establishes the standards of what is true greatness. And who goes through provoking situations in life? Everyone. No one is spared, including Lord Vishnu himself. And that's the context in which the statement is made by Srila Prabhupada. When Bhrigu Muni tested the three great lords, Brahma, Vishnu, Mahesh. Severe test. Two failed, one passed. Not a bad ratio, isn't it? But then that's life. When the tests come, some pass, some fail. And we see that actually life is full of tests, though it's something which everyone gets frightened of. Whenever, whoever, when a test is announced, whether it is Bhakti Shastri, Bhakti Vaibhav, any test, when it's announced, send some tremors. And it's said that even the greatest of the stalwarts, when they hear of a test, there's always some element of fear. And yet the reality is that no one can escape from the test. Maybe Bhakti Vaibhav test we can escape. But the test of life, who escapes? And sometimes, I'm sure we all have had some experience in our school days, college days. Sometimes we have some surprise tests. You have experience of that? Yes? So surprise test means unannounced. It's not announced. All of a sudden, the teacher may come to class one fine morning or not so fine morning and say, today there's a test. And what to do? Well, one could say, oh, I'm not prepared. Please give the test tomorrow. No, the teacher says, no, it has to be today. Or you leave the class, quit the course, whatever. But many times, the tests of life come as a surprise. And when there is a surprise test, without announcements, who passes that test? Yes, Prabhu says, one who's prepared always. Because if one is always prepared, then any time when when there's a test, he's prepared. But those who think they can prepare last minute, the night before, then when there's a surprise test, too difficult. The fact is that many times the tests of life come unannounced, without any pre-warning. Now, as far as the tests of this world are concerned, we find there are different teachers setting question papers. Some teachers set a little difficult question paper. Some teachers set a little easy test paper. There's variation. Krishna, 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram. Not too long a test. So, we were saying, different teachers set different types of tests. Depends on the teacher. But, in real life, there's only one teacher setting the test paper always. Who's that? Krishna. He's the one and only person who sets the test paper. Not much choice in the matter. Like sometimes we find in our courses, Bhakti Shastri, Bhakti, some people say, Mayapur little easy, Vrindavan little tough, so there's a choice. But here there's only one person always setting the test paper. And whether he's going to set it easy or difficult is totally his prerogative. And we have absolutely no choice in the matter. If it's easy, well and good. If it's difficult, well and good. Those who are prepared always will be ready to face the tests. The Srimad Bhagavatam is full of descriptions of tests. Sorry, we are taking the Govardhan LILA from a different perspective. Maybe you had some other expectation. What to do? We are always thinking of tests, Bhakti Shastri, Bhakti Vaibhav. So here we find, throughout the Srimad Bhagavatam, there are descriptions of tests and devotees going through tests. Some pass, some fail. And if you carefully analyze the Srimad Bhagavatam, it's all about that. Right at the beginning of creation, Brahmaji, as he's performing his service for the Supreme Lords, the Lord himself gave him a service of creation. And he's dutifully performing that service for the Supreme Lords. And right at the dawn of creation, as Brahmaji is trying to perform his service, immediately, practically, he has to go through so many tests. The first thing he creates, the first thing, he covers all the living entities with 5 layers of ignorance. He's frustrated and disappointed. Next, his first creation, the 4 Kumaras. He expected them to obediently increase the progeny. They said, forget it. The first setback for Brahmaji. He didn't expect that right at the beginning of a service. Usually when a service is given, those who are managers, they know how to give service. They say, Prabhu, please take this service. Easy service, not very difficult. You'll have so many facilities. Senior Vaishnavas will be pleased. Prabhupada will be pleased. So much mercy will flow. You'll be in ecstasy and so on and so forth. Everything is true. But then, everything comes with a price. And so here, Brahmaji, the first created living being, is performing his service for the Supreme Lord and is going through one test after the next. 4 Kumaras, disobedient. He gets angry, Rudra comes out, so many Rudras, they immediately start destruction. They say, oh, this is not the time for destruction, this is time for creation, go to the forest. Then he creates some beings, demoniac beings, they attack Brahmaji himself. Then he creates a daughter. He himself is attracted to her. So many problems, so many difficulties. One test after the other. We see the example of the Pandavas. One test after the other. The example of Chitraketu Maharaj, cursed by Mother Parvati. Example of Maharaj Rantidev, Maharaj Shibi, Parikshit Maharaj, Prahlad Maharaj, Dhruva Maharaj, Bali Maharaj. Prabhupada says, such a severe test, no one could sustain, anyone would die. And the topmost devotees of the universe, right here in this pastime, the Brajavasis, they are going through a test. So who escapes a test? No one. And if you see the Chaitanya Charitamrita, we have examples. Rupa Goswami, Sanatana Goswami, the Lord himself tested Sanatana Goswami. There's Ishwara Puri, Ramchandra Puri. There's Haridas Thakur, Vasudev the leper, Vasudev Dutt. So many devotees. Some pass, some fail. This is what we see all the time. The example is given. When gold is put in fire, that's how the gold is tested. The purity of the gold is tested by putting the gold in the test of fire. In the fire test, the Agni Pariksha. So test has to be there to see how much one has progressed. test has to be there. And so, in the life of a devotee, Krishna himself takes it upon himself the task of setting the question paper. Krishna himself does it. As far as everyone else in the world is concerned, Krishna delegates. My Devi does the job. But for devotees, Krishna personally tests. And as we already said, surprise tests. Any moment, any time. So therefore, we cannot think, I have time. My test, I have some time for my test. 1 year, 2 years. No. Any moment, every moment is a time of test. So here, Indra is being tested. His test is, which is principally the essential test which everyone goes through in the material worlds, and that is how much one has let go of material attachments. That's the test. Indra, he has been getting his puja every year from the Brajvasis. He's enjoying it. He's enjoying the puja. He's enjoying the prestige. He's enjoying the honor. He's enjoying all that. He has been enjoying that for so many years. And unfortunately, he has been thinking, it's all for me, because I am the great Indra, giving the rains to these poor Brajamasis. If I don't supply the rains, they will perish and die. So therefore, I am the great Indra, and I definitely deserve this puja and this pratishtha. I deserve it. In this verse, Krishna is personally saying, my dear Indra, it was out of mercy, anugrahat. It was out of mercy that I stopped. Oh, who's the culprit? Krishna. So yes, so he's the culprit. He's the one who gives the test. And yes, so he has given the test here to Indra. You have been enjoying so far for so many years. Now's the test. This year, no puja. And Indra got totally bewildered. The test was a little beyond his capacity. Dhyaito vishyan pumsan sangasteshu pajayate sangat sanjayate kamat krodho bijayate krodad bhavati sammoha sammohat smriti vibramha smriti bramshat buddhinasho buddhinashat pranashyati. That's exactly what happens. So his vishay, the vishay, sense objects, could be gross or subtle. For some, the test comes in the form of gross sense objects. For some, it comes in the form of subtle sense objects. As far as gross sense objects, Indra is having enough of it, so he's okay with that. But now, the test here for Indra is quite subtle, on the subtle platform. And so his puja has been stopped and he's attached, asakta. Sangas Teshu puja. Sangat, there's sanga, there's attachment to the kama, the lust, the enjoying propensity. It could be gross or subtle. One doesn't get it, there is krodha. There's anger. So here, Indra, who's attached to his subtle sense gratification of puja, la, pratishta, doesn't get it, he's wild. How dare I don't get my sense gratification? I deserve it. Now, let's discuss on the consequences. Indra doesn't get his puja, la, pratishta. He doesn't get his sense gratification. And it said, anger blinds a person. Why? Because krodhat bhavati sammoha. Person is blinded by illusion. So here Indra becomes blind by illusion. Smriti vibhrama. Sometimes the acharyas say, here smriti also means forgetting the smritis, that means the shastra. So one forgets the shastric injunction. We have heard many times, amanina manadena. Maybe Indra also heard it. But here he forgot. He said, no, the mana is for me and I deserve it. He forgot. And he said, how dare this talkative little boy? He became blind. He could not recognize who is this talkative little boy. It is his eternal master Krishna. But he was blinded by the anger and he could not see. He could not recognize who is this talkative boy. That's what happens. One fails to recognize the Supreme Lord himself. Even though the Supreme Lord is right in front. People say, I want to see the Supreme Lord. Can you show me? The important question is, even if the Supreme Lord were to be right in front of you, can you recognize? That's the question. We have two more important examples. When Kaliya, he saw Krishna right in front of him. And yet, he tried to bite him. He tried to kill him. He had to be purified by the pounding of the soft lotus-like feet of Krishna. It's a paradox. Soft lotus feet, but they were pounding like thunderbolts for Kaliya. When he was purified, then the same little boy in front, but an entire different perception. The cataract was removed. making nests. And so Srila Prabhupada told his servant, put some paper. And put some paper. The sparrow was trying to take it out. Took it out. Again took it out. Then Prabhupada said, put some hard cardboard. Every time the sparrow was trying to take out, he couldn't understand that there was someone behind, a person who was trying to prevent him from building that nest. Because the sparrow is attached to building the nest, somehow or the other. Similarly, when a person is blinded by false ego, attached to the sense gratification, gross or subtle. I want it, I need it at any cost. If I don't get it, I destroy those who are my opponents. That's exactly what happened. He couldn't recognize. Now, Indra is about to perform the most abominable, heinous task. Not just Brahma Hatya, Vaishnav Hatya. Not just Vaishnav Hatya, Vrajabasi Hatya. The eternal associates of the Supreme Lord, he has planned to murder them. Just see the extent of illusion, the extent of blindness. For whom? Not any Tom, Dick and Harry. For Indra, who's an empowered Vaishnav himself, performing an important service for the Supreme Lord. Yet, the extent of the ego is such, so covered over, so blinded, he's trying to murder the Brajvasis. Well, he's out to do something terrible. He could have at least thought, I'm out to do something terrible, let me consult someone. But this is another play of the false ego. The result of material attachments. The result is, no, you are 100% correct. You don't have to consult anyone because 100% you are correct. So we see in Indra's pastimes, Indra, many times he commits blunders, but he never consults anyone before he commits them. After he commits them, then he consults. It's a constant feature of Indra's pastimes, who's of course teaching us important lessons. We find in the 6th canto, a great part of the 6th canto is dedicated to Indra's pastimes. He disrespects Brihaspati. He's so intelligent. Moments, practically moments, Brihaspati left, he lost his powers. Within moments, Indra understood his mistake. And you'll find, 6th canto of the Bhagavatam, Indra is repenting, he's glorifying the Lord. He has all philosophical knowledge perfectly. No doubt of philosophical knowledge. So we find, Indra, he repents for what he did with Brihaspati. Then he consults Brahmaji. Brahmaji says, now, big blunder you have committed. You have insulted your guru. Anyway, go and accept Vishwarup as your priest. He will help you out. Okay? Vishwarup gives the solution. Of course, Brahmaji wants this Vishwarup. He has some affection towards the demons. Tolerates. Okay? Accepted. Follow the process. Indra got his powers back. Everything happened fine. Then he saw Vishwarup is offering some oblations on behalf of the demons. Immediately, because of Indra's material attachments to his post and position, he is always in a state of insecurity, and immediately, without a second thought, no consultation, murder, cold blood, no consultation, sword just comes out, 3 heads of Vishwarup off his shoulders. That's it. He doesn't think. No thinking. No consultation, no thinking. That's how. Murder. Then Tvashta performs sacrifice, and there's Vritrasur. He's a Brahmin, devotee. So Indra thought, this time, I've been performing enough blunders. This time, let me consult. Unfortunately, or fortunately, by the Lord's plan, he consulted the wrong people. Of course, Krishna's perfect plan, nothing happens without Krishna's. Why? Why does Krishna do that? Because he understands the desire of the living entity. So he consulted the wrong people. They were sages. No doubt, they were sages. But heavenly sages, some mix of karmakants. He said, don't worry. They said, don't worry, Indra. This Vritrasura is causing all of us trouble. Go and kill him. We will perform Ashwamedh sacrifice. Everything will be all right. Fine. Indra said, okay, you're giving your good advice. Fine. So he goes, he fights with Vritrasura. That's a long story. He kills Vritrasura. And he comes to the sages and says, now perform Ashwamedh sacrifice. I want to be relieved. Sin personified was chasing him in the form of an old, diseased lady. Tuberculosis. So he said, save me. He said, forget it. You're too polluted. We can't save you. He had to take shelter of the Manasarovar lake and hide within the stem. He was not getting food for 1,000 celestial years. He had to perform great tapasya. So one may say, okay, Indra definitely committed a blunder. But this time the blunder was on good advice, isn't it? So why he had to face reaction? Good. Well, the problem was he got the wrong advice. He went to the wrong people. Well, somebody may say, okay, but what about the sages? Were the sages spared because they gave wrong advice? No, they were not spared. The Bhagavatam explains. The sages who gave wrong advice, they also had to face the reaction from the presiding Indra at that time. So Indra was hiding within the lotus, and there was a presiding Indra, who was this king, Nahusha. And he gave them a lot of trouble. So they were getting reaction for the wrong advice. Indra was getting the reaction for following the wrong advice. Everybody gets it. Nobody escapes. The givers of wrong advice, the followers of wrong advice, the executors of the wrong advice, those who assist in the wrong advice, everybody get their quota. Nobody is spared. The mills of God grind slowly but exceedingly fine. No one escapes the laws of nature. Very stringent. Yet, we find Indra commits blunder again and again because of these material attachments. As far as theoretical knowledge is concerned, he has it. And we'll find in the Bhagavatam again and again, he offers beautiful prayers. He has full realization. He doesn't have full realization. He has theoretical knowledge. That's the problem. In Bhagavad Gita, chapter 6, verse number 8, purport. Srila Prabhupada begins the purports by saying, simply bookish knowledge without realization is useless. Very beautiful purport. Srila Prabhupada explains how does one come to the realized platform and what is the results of living on a realized platform. Realization comes by grace. When there is the sincere desire to please the Supreme Lord and not one's own motivations. When that sincere desire to please the Supreme Lord is there and one strives to please the Supreme Lord and his representatives, the spiritual master, the acharyas, then Krishna is pleased by that sincere endeavor, and then by his grace one gets the deep realizations and convictions to practice the philosophy. In the same purport, Srila Prabhupada says, when one has realized knowledge, then one becomes steady in his convictions. Then one can practice Krishna consciousness steadily. Indra, because of his deep desires to enjoy sense gratification, even though he has theoretical knowledge, doesn't get the realization. And thus, blunder after blunder after blunder. And so, we find here, Indra has committed this terrible murder, trying to kill the Brajvasis. He tried. Krishna, of course, protected the Brajvasis. Here in this situation, the Brajvasis were also being tested. And as far as the Brajvasis are concerned, always they pass the test because they know 100% that there is no other shelter except the Supreme Lord. And with body, mind, word, soul, they take full shelter of the Supreme Lord in every situation, and then the Lord protects them in every way. Here Indra, when Krishna lifted up the Govardhan hill for 7 days and 7 nights, such a humiliation for Indra. Small boy, 7 years old. And Indra, with all his might, it's described, could not even shake one single leaf of a single tree of Govardhan. What a humiliation. And even the animals on Govardhan were not affected. The lions were looking up at the clouds and simply roaring, unaffected. The deer were playing around, unaffected. And Indra was seeing this. What's this? I am trying my best with all my might to take revenge, and these people unaffected. Finally, he realizes the blunder. And then he tried to kill the devotees. Yet, the only shelter is devotees. He tried to kill the devotees, yet when he realized his blunder, now he was afraid, as the acharyas explain in their commentaries. The lifting of Govardhan hill was definitely a humiliation. But Indra was afraid. Now, Krishna is the Supreme Lord, he is the Supreme Boss, and who knows, he may employ Yamaraj to punish me. That was his next fear, which was yet to come. And so he says, before that comes, let me beg forgiveness. But for that, he had to again approach a devotee. Can't escape. The surrender has to be there. So he had to approach Surabhi and say, please, on my behalf. And here, So before this verse, the previous verses, Indra has spoken his prayers, he's begged for forgiveness. He said, I am like a small child, naughty child. You're like, Father, please forgive me, all that. And so when he expressed himself, here Krishna is expressing himself and he's saying, you know who's the culprit? Who did it all? I did it. I orchestrated this whole thing. Why? Out of Krishna's causeless mercy. When Krishna, as explained in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami explains, when Krishna sees that a devotee is approaching him with material desires, then Krishna feels pity. So foolish, so foolish. He has come to me. I can give him love of gods. I can give him the topmost in the universe. But he has come to me with material desires. But I'm not foolish. So therefore, I will make arrangements by which he will forget his sense gratification and simply take shelter of my lotus feet. That's Krishna's plan. And therefore Krishna orchestrates so many situations in the lives of devotees by which one gives up all other shelters and one is forced to surrender to the Supreme Lord. If somebody thinks, well, this Krishna is a tough taskmaster, too difficult, let me forget this Krishna. Let me go somewhere else. But where else will one go? If it's not Krishna, it is his agent Maya. One can't escape. In this way, the living entity, life after life after life, tries in so many different ways, trying to adjust, trying to change situations, somehow trying to find some sense gratification without taking full shelter of Krishna. As Prabhupada gives the example, living entity is literally kicked like a football from place to place to place, situation to situation to situation, trying to gratify one's own mind and senses. Finally, after all one's endeavors, when the living entity understands, Jeev Krishnadas e Vishwas Korletar Dukkhanai. When one comes to that realization, a very simple understanding, yet that realization takes lifetimes. And when one comes to that realization that yes, I have no other shelter 100%, save and accept the lotus feet of Krishna. And in that consciousness, with full surrender, with that understanding and realization, and even if one is not on that platform, at least having a sincere desire to come to that platform and making full endeavor to come to that platform with full sincerity, fully trying to relinquish all material attachments, all material desires, fully surrendering to the instructions of Guru and Krishna, not trying to follow in Indra's footsteps. He teaches us what not to do. So surrender means that we follow instructions, we consult, we take guidance before we make our decisions. And in that regard, another one of Srila Prabhupada's beautiful golden statements in connection to Parikshit Maharaj's pastime. Any decision, however important it may be, must always be confirmed with higher authorities. This makes the matter perfect. This is in the context of Parikshit Maharaj. He had made the decision to hear Krishna Katha for the rest of the 7 days, but when he saw all these great Vaishnavas, sages in front of him, he took advantage of the association and consulted them. What am I supposed to do? In that context, Srila Prabhupada writes this statement. Any matter, any decision, we may think it's not so important, but who knows? That may be our Maya. Any decision, however important it may be, must always be confirmed with higher authorities before the decision is taken, not like Indra, making the decision, acting, and then trying to find a solution. As I said, prevention is better than cure. So, therefore, we learn from Indra what not to do and how to take shelter of the Supreme Lords. So, in this way, when the living entity gets frustrated in all his attempts and comes to that conclusion that yes, I have to leave all these other attempts, simply surrender to the Supreme Lord and his pure representatives, simply take shelter of the chanting of the holy names, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. As Srila Prabhupada said, like a helpless child, when one cries out to Krishna for shelter, then Krishna gives the ultimate shelter to free us from material existence and give eternal shelter at his lotus feet. These are a few important lessons from the Govardhan pastime. Thank you very much. Grandraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki, ya Srila Prabhupada ki, ya Samaved Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki, ya Hare Krishna. If anyone has any questions, you can ask me personally. Thank you.